afternoon, everyone. In this lecture, we are going to talk about the repetition structure of the flowchart. In repetition structure, there is a block which consists of one statement or more than one statement that repeatedly executed until a condition is satisfied or until a condition is true. There is a condition to check. Whenever this condition is true, the statement is going to be executed repeatedly. So there is this structure called a loop, and this loop has two more important things. So the first one, there is an expression that is tested in order to check whether the condition is true or false. And there is a statement or block of statement, or there is some process or stuff like that which is repeatedly executed whenever this expression is true. Okay, so and also we've got two types of repetition which are pre-test loop and post-test loop. We are going to talk about them in the upcoming slides. Okay, in order to implement a repetition structure, there must be a counter, and this counter is used in order to control the execution of the loop. How many iteration can this loop have, or how many iteration are there, how many times this loop repeats itself. And this counter increments or decrements whenever the loop repeats or anytime the loop repeats, and this counter must be initialized before entering the loop. Okay, before we are starting getting into the loop, the counter must be initialized. Okay, here we have a pre-test loop. Before going to this flowchart, we are going to talk about the pseudo code. For example, we've got one choice selection. This is the loop. Okay, the while is pre-test loop. While this condition is true, this statement is going to be executed. Whatever we have here is going to be executed until we are getting to the end of the while loop. So this is the starting point of the loop, which checks this condition. If it is true, it comes to inside the inside the while loop, and whatever is being here is going to be executed until the loop goes to the end of the while statement. Okay, here we are talking about the loop, the pre-test loop in terms of flowchart. Look, the flowchart comes to this condition, the algorithm comes to this condition, it checks this condition. If this condition is true, it comes to here, which is the body of the loop, or it is the statements which is executed whenever the condition is true. When it is executed, it comes back to the beginning of the condition. It rechecks. Whenever it's true, it comes here, it executes. Look, it is a loop. Okay, it executes this statement whenever this condition is true, and we are getting to some point and this condition will be false, so the program or the algorithm goes to the end. It goes to the outside of the loop and it goes to the end or to another statement of the algorithm, and we can see all the condition and the body of the loop altogether can be considered as one statement. Look, it is the same as this one. We are initializing some count or stuff like that, and it comes to this condition. If it is true, this body is executed and the counter or the initialization is going to be incremented, and it comes back again, it checks again. If it's true, this loop continuously executes itself, and when it goes to the false, the program goes to or the algorithm goes to another part of the flowchart or stuff like that. Look, we have an example. We have the starting point and we have counter. CNT is a variable. We are initializing it to 0. Okay, it is just for example, and we are coming to the condition while counter less than 5. Yes, 0 is less than 5, so it's true. So it comes here, it prints this program. This parallelogram shape is used to printing something or getting something as input. So the condition is true, it prints this one, and we are incrementing the counter. So the counter was 0 and becomes 1 and comes back here. It's 1 here. 1 is less than 5. Yes, it prints the programming again. The count is becoming 2. 2 is less than 5. It iterates again. It's 3. 3 less than 5. Iterates again. It's 4. 4 less than 5. Iterates again. It's going to be 5. Okay, it was 5. So when becomes 5, 5 is less than 5? No, it's false. So the flowchart goes to the end. Okay, how the counter controls a loop. So we have got an initialization of the counter. We set it to a value 0 or any value you want. So we are testing the value of the counter. We say while the counter greater than n. So anytime the condition is true, we are updating the value of the counter, increase by 1 or by 2 or any other value until the condition is going to be false. The program stops. Okay, here we have an example. Suppose we want to write a program to compute the sum of the first 10 positive number. So how many repetitions do we have? We are going to initialize something, condition to check the counter and update the counter. So we are going to use the counter. Look, we are having the starting point or the start terminal of the pseudo code of flowchart. So at the beginning we are going to talk about solving this example using pseudo code. Then set sum equals to 0. So the summation of those 10 numbers is 0 before we have started anything. Okay, we haven't started anything, so it's 0 and the counter is 0. So while the counter is smaller than 10, we are saying the new sum equals to the old sum, which was 0, plus counter. So the counter is 0 and the sum is 0, so the result is going to be 0. The summation is 0. Then we are incrementing the counter. We are increasing the counter by 1. Counter equals to counter plus 1, so the counter is going to be 1 and it comes back again. 1 is less than 10? Yes. Sum equals to the old sum plus counter. Old sum was 0, counter is 1, so the sum is going to be 1. Counter was 1 plus 1, the new counter is going to be 2. So 2 is less than 10. Sum was 1 plus 2 is going to be 3. So the counter was 2 plus 1 is going to be 3 as well. So here the loop comes back again. 3 is less than 10? Yes. And it repeats up to it gets to the 9. Okay, it starts from 0 up to the 9. So it is calculating the summation all of them. When it comes to 10, the condition is going to be false. It directly comes to this point. And finally we are displaying the summation of those 10 numbers and end of our while loop. And now we are solving that problem, the previous problem using flowchart. We have start summation equals to 0, counter equals to 1. So we can say counter equals to 0 or to 1. It doesn't make any difference because adding 0 doesn't make any difference. So while counter is smaller than 10, 1 is smaller than 10? Yes, true. So it comes to this point. Sum equals sum plus counter. 0 plus 1. So, and then we are increasing the counter by 1. So the counter is going to be 2. 2 is less than 10? Yes. It adds the 2 to the sum. So the 2 is going to be 3. 3 is less than 10? Yes. It adds 3 to the sum. So the counter is going to be 4. It's going to be 5. Adds 6. 7, it adds to the summation. 8 adds to the summation. 9 adds to the summation. 10 is less than 10? No, false. So it is false. It comes to this point, and this point prints the summation of them and ending the